met Mrs. O'Connor the first time I walked into, back then it was called Crimson Girl and Capstone Man interview as a college freshman, and that was the first time I laid eyes on her and was in awe.
Well, I met Jean, actually she called me. It was right after she had been hired. Dr. Matthews had hired her to work for the University of Alabama. And he placed her in the development office. But one of the responsibilities he gave her was to be the coordinator for the Crimson Girls organization, which I was the president of.
Miss Jean O'Connor, we found out later, came up with the idea of allowing the men to come in and be involved in it as well. And so there were 108 of us that tried out for it, and 8 of us were selected, and there were 16 Crimson Girls and 8 Capstone Men the first year.
So she taught us that it's okay to not be front and center, that oftentimes it's better to prepare the team.
And we began to learn that Miss O'Connor had a very special attribute of being able to see the good in people and bring it out of them without them really realizing what she was doing.
I was very fortunate in that Jean O'Connor was a wonderful mentor for me. And it seems like that in my life I have been very fortunate. I've had 3 wonderful women role models to come into my life. And it seems as though it's been at times in my life when I needed it the most. And with Jean, I think she saw in me a potential that I did not even know myself. And I think that was a gift she had. I think that she could really in her love for people and an understanding of people and her desire to work with young people, that was one of her gifts, is that she could see the potential that you didn't even know you had.
It was almost like she could look beyond the book's cover and see the print inside before we'd ever turn the page.
Ms. O'Connor was a legendary figure in the eyes of Crimson Girls and Capstone Men. She was sort of the Bear Bryant of our group, and she inspired us, she motivated us, and so her reputation preceded her. And so the first time that you see Ms. O'Connor, you already have her on a pedestal.
Another thing that she taught is, and I think it was a wonderful lesson for all of us, is that life is not a spectator sport. That you are to be involved, and that meant be involved in your community, wherever that community was. If it was a community of 5, you were to be involved. If it was a larger community, you were to be involved. You were to be not just involved, but to be a part of.
It's about being engaged in a community in a very comprehensive way, and a way in which you are first and foremost working on what communities identify as problems, not what you identify as a problem.
The fact that young people can be exposed to maybe things that are not in their comfort zone, or maybe challenges such as the civic challenges that we have as a state, that they can be exposed to those, and with an understanding that just by sitting back and saying, well, that's somebody else's problem and I'm not a part of that, that's not true citizenship.
And remember that everybody has value. God made them that way. Your job is to be smart enough and attentive enough to look for that gift and to learn from it.